So you're going to start with a pre-pugged, pre-wedged piece of clay, as I'm sure you remember, okay? I know this is going to be just a little bowl, but I don't want you to spend hours watching me do this. So I'm just going to start small, make a quick bowl so you can see it. Then we've got to talk about the trimming, and then we'll look at the way we trim as well, okay? So remember to get this nice and centered, as close to the middle as you can, and kind of connect this to the wheel head. Karate chopping around slightly. All right. If you've never used the kick wheel, you will in this class, okay? This is by far the easiest one to trim on. So when I go through the trimming demo with you guys, you're gonna see that and you're gonna recognize that right away. Most kids fight over this wheel for trimming. So this is a pretty standardly used piece of equipment in the advanced pottery class. Okay. So we get it to its fastest speed possible. Hopefully you remember that from your first pottery class. And then lots and lots of water, right? Okay. Can anyone remember what your hand position is supposed to kind of look like from this? Let me see them. Let me see them. That's pretty good. It's okay. You'll see it. That's pretty good, okay? So we've got one hand on the outside, right? One hand on top, and you can have them under or over. It's kind of whichever way is comfortable for you. And you really want to worry about the fleshy parts of your hands pushing down on that clay, okay? So, really wet. Huh? Shave off half your hand. This clay is nicer though, okay? So we're gonna hold tight and push down and into the clay. Remember, this is not all about your arms, it's about your body, so you're gonna really dig into your body when doing this, not just making your arms do all the work, okay? So pushing down and in at the same time. And the idea is to stop all motion in your clay and get it look like it's barely moving. Am I making a mess? Good. Okay. How do we check to see if it's centered or not?
You put your finger like kind of close to it if it hits your finger.
Yeah. So put your finger close to it, and if it's bumping side to side at all in any of those areas, you're not centered, right? This looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to open this. Okay, so how far down am I pushing the clay when I open? Half an inch, okay? So I'm going to push down and measure often so that I don't go too far. We measure with our needle tool by pushing in, finding that clay where it meets it. We got a ways to go yet. Okay. So, hand on the outside, balancing the top one there so that you don't accidentally let either hand move. You want to stay still centered during this process. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm at half an inch, which is double a pinky, right? And I've opened down, but I need to start doing step number 2 here, okay? I'm going to open in a curved manner, not straight out like I had you guys do before, but out and up, so that when I open this, it's a curved bottom like bowls should be, right? Not a flat bottom. So I'm going to pull out and up, and it's however wide you want it to be at the base. If you want a wider bowl, you open a bit wider. You pull out farther and then up. So let's get a little bit wider bowl here. Okay. So it's going to look more kind of like, when you're all said and done, more of kind of like a donut shape than that little kind of mountain we had when we did our cylinders. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So now we should be at step 3. We're going to lift out and up. So when I'm lifting, I'm not just going straight up like I did before. I'm going to be using a lot more of the inside hand to pull it out as I go. So I'm still going to make that little divot on the bottom. I'm going to hold my hands steady on the inside and outside, push together, and as I lift, I'm going to use that inside hand to pull outward. Okay? After every single lift, I'm going to compress my lip. And this is a very simple thing, okay? You take your fingers on either side, take this finger, and just push down to give it a little love on that top part so that it doesn't break on you. It doesn't rip on you as you go. Okay? Make a divot. A little bit more water for this. Push in. You're going to pull out and up. Always compressing my lip every single time. Okay? Make a divot, and that is another thing you're going to notice, that your bottom is going to start to kind of flare out like that. You've got to bring that clay back in to use it. So push that in to bring that back into the piece. Pull out and up. And it's really kind of up to you how far you want to lift these things out and up. I mean, I'm just looking for like a little cereal bowl kind of thing. So now it's nice and skinny. And if I wanted to kind of mess with the shape a little bit, you could grab your rib, and I actually, when I'm using a bowl, this seems really wrong on so many levels, but I use this side, and I actually push into the piece so that it's just kind of connecting on one little part here, and I can push out against that rib so it compresses the shape as I go, and you can push out and in to the bowl to make funky lips, funky little bowl shapes. It's kind of your call, okay? There's only so much you can do with a bowl though, right? Compressing that lip again. Some kids are more comfortable using the sponge to compress the lip, and that's fine. Just, you always have to have fingers on either side, and you're just going to take that sponge and just curve it over the edge, and that's just as helpful and just as effective. So I've got a nice little bowl shape here, okay? Now this is why every time you make a bowl you have to trim, because you see all this excess stuff we have here? We're going to have to get rid of that when we do stuff later. There's just no way to make a nice looking proper foot without trimming, okay? So this is step one in bowl making. You always have to trim, so you should think of it as like a big two-step process, okay? So here's the first one. Do you guys remember how to remove pieces of pottery from this wheel? Danny?
You get the wire tool and then you put it under and slice.
Yes.
Two different
Okay.
things.
That's perfect for a cylinder shape, okay? For a bowl, you're almost always going to have to slide it off. It's kind of going to collapse on you a little bit more often if it's a little bit wider, okay? So you're going to get a little bit of water on the surface of half the wheel, okay? And you're going to pull that water underneath the piece twice, okay? And by that time, you should have put like a layer of water underneath, and it should slide fairly easily onto your hand and then set on the board, okay? Looks good. All right. Well, thank you.